cool. Okay. Hey, JP, how you doing? I want to say so all ships at sea and all souls out there. This is Sean Morton. I just want to let you know that my address here is P.O. Box 24549, Tucson, Arizona 85734. So anybody wants to send me a Christmas card, I'm hoping that JP, after we're done with this, will post that again. And I'm going to send you a blog as well because I've got so much to cover today. But I've sent you a big blog, which always gets posted on alternativerealitydisorder.com. And then we also have a I don't know what the website is where you actually post the audio of this, but it goes out to a lot of people, the audio of this phone call every week. So let me just start out by saying that thanks to my paralegal team and so much hard work, we got my motions posted last Wednesday, and these are emergency expedited dispository motions, and there's 6 of them of these motions, and they have only 10 days to answer them. And then we have 7 days to rebut whatever it is they answer. And there's the good possibility, even though we did an appeal that was about 88 pages or so, there's the good possibility that after speaking to the clerks at the Ninth Circuit Court and their attorneys, talking about how we should just take the salient points out of this. And let me also point out, too, if I could get this out there, lifeisdarngoodYes at yahoo.com. LifeisdarngoodYes at yahoo.com. LifeisdarngoodYes at yahoo.com. Those are my paralegals, and that's their PayPal account. That is the PayPal account for my paralegals. What I'm doing in here, and part of one of the motions that we're actually putting in, is for vindictive prosecution and selective prosecution, as an example. And tell me if you've ever heard of this, JP. With the help of people like JP and Lorian Fenton and Kerry Cassidy and Revolution Radio and my doing webinars and radio shows, from all the people out there, we've managed to raise about $8,500 or so in order to help with my appeal, help with my defense, and Valerie Makowicz and James Hughes, who were the prosecutors for the deep state DOJ, both Obama appointees, I might add, they had the nerve to go call GoFundMe. They literally threatened GoFundMe, where we'd raised, again, about $8,500 or so, and threatened GoFundMe and forced GoFundMe to send all that money back to all these wonderful people after all this work. And not only did they tell them to send it back, but with a message that I was not allowed to raise money through private means for my due process, for my legal defense. Because, you ready for this? I'm not kidding. I'm quoting what
This call is from a federal prison.
What they forced GoFundMe to send, which said that I would not be allowed to thwart the will of the Department of Justice. Have you ever heard of anything like that ever, JP?
No.
Ever in your life? No. And that's sort of like you get picked up and go to jail, and your dad comes in to pay your bill or pay your fine, and the judge goes, "Well, I can't allow you because that's going to thwart the will of the local sheriff." Meanwhile, with selective prosecution as well, there were 549 other people. And this was a movement that was going across the country that filed what was called the 1099 original discount paperwork. It was filed for us by licensed tax preparers, of one of them who was a CPA, and yet of all those people who got returns, my wife and I were the only 2 to be prosecuted out of that entire field. And that's where selective prosecution comes from. Meanwhile, we find out that they stacked the jury with people that not only worked on the Obama campaign, but were actually friends with the prosecutor. So this goes on and on and on and on and on. But the vindictive prosecution, selective prosecution, jurisdiction. So now we have these dispository motions in, which they have to answer. And if we're not successful with those, we got a habeas corpus, and then all the other things that we have ready to go. But there's the good possibility, with all your prayers and all your help, and with your contributing to lifeisdarngoodYes at yahoo.com, because now I just have to keep my paralegals literally in food. Myself, I mean, I wear a pair of holy New Balance ratty shoes that I found in the garbage. I support myself here by doing tarot card readings for the other inmates and occasionally the warden, actually, although he left. And that's what pays my commissary, which keeps me in granola and almonds. And you know, the food here is terrible, but just enough food to keep me alive. And every other dime has gone to my paralegals. So we need your help now. It was a challenge for us to even come up with a few $100s just to do the mailings that we needed to get the motions out. So anybody that can contribute $50 or whatever, lifeisdarngoodYes at yahoo.com. All right, let's get into some other things that are going on. Stuff that came out in the news today. you have this, and let me start with big stuff. I told everybody that if I was either by choice or by force left California, that, quote, all hell break loose. And now we've seen all hell break loose in California. The headlines actually read Dante's Inferno, which is a direct reference to hell. With the fires up and down California, I told on this show, on this program, I talked about the massive fires first, then you're going to have mudslides, which is, in essence, a movement of earth, an earthquake, if you will. But the rains are coming with the massive mudslides. But I'm telling you that giant earthquakes are next. Now, it's interesting, because years ago, I made the prediction where I remote viewed the earthquake that destroys Southern California and San Francisco, because I think San Francisco is coming as well. And what I saw was the earthquake actually in the Santa Monica Bay that then creates a tidal wave that then washes across Los Angeles basin. And it happened during a heat wave, and it happened during some kind of global sporting event is what I talked about. And the biggest thing that I saw was just to the west of downtown Los Angeles, there was going to be a huge tower. And that tower was going to have a glowing, like a laser lit or LED light or something, but a huge angel holding a flaming sword as the symbol of Los Angeles, and it was going to be built for some world sporting event. Well, now we have two massive ones coming. They're going to be in a few years, but in the 2020s, where we actually have the World Cup coming to Los Angeles, and we have the Olympics coming to Los Angeles as well. It's even stranger that in 2022, we have the predicted Death Star appearing. A supernova is going to appear in the sky. Madame Blavatsky actually predicted this in the constellation of Cygnus, and it's going to appear in June of 2022 and be there for that summer, along with Pluto astrologically going through, I think, 26 or 27 degrees Capricorn, right on top of the chart of the United States at that same time in the early 2020s, which a lot of death and disaster is going to go on. But they haven't built the tower yet, but they will. Actually, after I made the prediction in the LA Times, they actually had a front page artist depiction, and all kinds of people sent it to me, of a tower that they were building with an angel on the top with a sword, which is also, I think, the symbol of LA Live. Today, they also released this ridiculous climate report. And in this report, this is Harvard as well, they're now talking about dimming the sun. And it says in the report that they have now proposed what they call atmosphere stratospheric aerosol injection, or huge tankers to now actually spray chemicals in the atmosphere to actually dim the sun. This was a Harvard report today, claiming that they could do this with tankers and whatever else. Now, there are people that talk about how climate change probably caused the massive day fires. Well, number one, the ecological policies of the state of California are completely ridiculous and absurd because they won't let you clear cut any brush, because it interferes with nature. And the other one is, too, and I'm convinced that the chemtrails that have vaporized aluminum in them have actually sealed up a bunch of the trees, which have allowed the beetles that are eating away the trees, killing the trees in the forest, which made these things like basically just tender for these massive fires. So I just think it's ridiculous that today you have this big climate change report. And again, all these people talking about how 200 years of industrialization are going to harm the planet. They're all worried about the birds and the bees and the whales and the snails, and it's just crazy to me that people actually build houses at the bottom of Kilauea where there's lava in my living room. The planet's going to be fine. The planet's going to be here. It's been here for 6 billion years. It's going to be here for a lot longer. And maybe, and it's just so arrogant for us to think that we're going to destroy the planet somehow with aluminum cans and plastic bags. And maybe the only legacy of mankind once the entire planet moves on is probably going to be the styrofoam that's left over. In politics, it's interesting because the new minority speaker of the House, this guy McCarthy, is just he's a glad-handing moron rhino, who's once again another Republican in name only. It's going to be interesting because in 2020, here's a prediction for you. I think the Democrats are actually going to run where they're going to say, we're going to give you back your deductions for state taxes, for your mortgage mortgage interest. We're going to give you back all the state deductions. Because when they did the tax cut under Trump, primarily because of the Republicans again, they did not do a tax cut all the way across the board like they did under Reagan. Reagan slashed taxes for everybody, not just corporations, but for the middle class, for everybody across the board. And Trump was not allowed to do that. And of course now with the Democrats in control, now we're not going to get a tax cut for the middle class. There's not going to be, although I think the Democrats, if they're smart, and I don't want to give them any advice, but they'll campaign on, well, we'll give you back the deductions for your mortgage, back the deductions for your house, and back the deductions for property tax. And so it's just interesting to me to see just these. When did CNN become just a mouthpiece for left of the Democratic Party? And when did CNN, which used to be trusted news, just start doing nothing but lying over and over and over again for these people? And CNN telling all of us that this caravan of migrants doesn't exist, and that it's just an illusion. Now they're at the border rioting and all these other things happening. So let me see. What else did I have to say? Okay, I want to talk about the earthquakes. Talk about the fires because the mudslides are coming. What else you got? Gosh. Other than that, it's just been grinding working on the motions, and then working on. And so let me pitch my Life is Darn Good Yes at yahoo.com. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Better to fight your oppressors and get the stripes and the bruises on your front than on your back." Napoleon was the one that said, "It's much harder to stab a man with a spear coming at you than somebody who's running away." All this legal paperwork that I've been doing, and the dispository motions, the 6 of them that I filed, all of these have shown that there has been vindictive execution by selective prosecution. People know this or not. We were used as victims to convict 3 other people, the people that actually did our tax preparations for us. They used us as the victims in those cases, and then turned around and charged us as somehow as the perpetrator and the architects of an entire scheme, which is sort of like a woman getting raped, like in a Muslim country, and then having the cops turn around and said, "Well, you were wearing a short dress, and we all know what those clear heels mean, and you were asking for it, so we're gonna prosecute you for being raped," which is just crazy. And along with my appeal, and along with the motions that have been put in, now the New York Times comes because now left-wing media is going to do a massive smear campaign against, guess who? Me. And they're going to do it again. And hopefully, most of my friends that they've contacted have told them to fook off. Or if they are contacted, that they want the conversation recorded with an attorney on the line. And I've already contacted L. Lynn Wood, who's a defamation lawyer. And so everybody, and I want them to contact this reporter, who, by the way, does nothing but smear everybody in the freedom movement. Again, I'm not a sovereign citizen. I've never claimed to be a sovereign citizen. I am a citizen of the sovereign state of California and an American national. They tried to claim that I was in some sort of tax fraud scheme, which I was not. It wasn't tax evasion. The judge even said that he told you every dime that he made over the course of these 5 years, and it was just a question of filing the paperwork, which was done.
This call is from a federal prison.
Somebody else other than us, and at the same time, when I went in at the end for sentencing, and I said, "Look, this is all beyond me. I don't know what you're talking about. I need an attorney, and I have every right to an attorney during every phase of the trial, from pre-trial to trial to sentencing." And I asked for an attorney at the very end, and the judge said, "Denied. It's too late for you," with a big grin on his face, and then sent me down here. But again, I need your support. As I said, the vindictive prosecution is just, and now we're out of time. But look, it's thanks to you, JP, and Kerry Cassidy, and Lorian Fenton, and all the other hosts on Revolution Radio, and Steve Travesty, and all my friends out there that have kept us alive. Melissa's going to be released on January 19th, and she's going to be going to a halfway house and in Watts, because we couldn't find anybody to give us an address to actually take us in. So she's going to be in a halfway house right on the border of Cripland, and she's going to be there for about 4 months or so. But at least she's getting out on January 19th. God bless you. God bless everybody. I'm going to put all this in a blog for you to post on AlternativeRealityDisorder.com. And once again, Life is Darn Good, yes, at Yahoo. Anybody can contribute anything to them just to pay for mailing and keep my kids alive down there is absolutely fantastic. Thank you, JP.
Be well, Sean. I hope your eye gets better. Any news on that?
Brother. Yeah, they might operate on it this.
Fabulous. All right, good night, everybody.